This is a review for 7.G.6. Maya used a cube-shaped box to store her stacking cups. She wants to decorate the outside of the box with wrapping paper. She calculated the area of one face of the box. Which phrase describes a correct method for determining the surface area of the entire box? So we know the surface area, you find the area of each face and add them all together. If it is a cube, that means every face is equal. So think how many faces are on a cube. So you have the top, bottom, front, back, side, side. So there are 6 faces. Okay, so once you find the area of one face, they all say one face, okay, then you would times it by 6 in order to get the entire surface area. So multiply the area of one face by 6. Number 2, what is the volume of a cube whose total surface area is 150? So we can use what we just did in the last problem to figure this out. So there are 6 faces. So if we multiplied each face, if we multiply the one face by 6, then we can do the whole surface area and divide it by 6, and that will tell us the area of one face. So if we do 150 divided by 6, 6 goes into 15 twice. 15 minus 12 is 3, bring down our 0. 6 goes into 35 times. Okay, so each face, the area is 25. Okay, so to find out the length and the width, since it's a cube, they're equal. So what number times itself equals 25? Or what's the square root of 25? Well, 5 times 5 is 25. So if you had a cube, it's not my best cube, okay, then that means each of these would be 5. So to find the volume, we would do length times width times height. So 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125. So 5 quarters, $1.25. Next, Jerry has 2 rectangular prisms, box 1 and box 2. Which statement concerning these prisms is true? So we're just going to have to go through each of these answer choices and see which one is correct. So if we started with A, we would just find the volume. So we would do length times width times height. So 8 times 4 is 32. And then 32 times 32, and this is for the volume. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, put down your 0. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. Add them up. So we got 4, 12, and 10. So that is the volume of this rectangular prism here. So to find the volume of this one, we would do 16 times 8 times 8. So I know that 8 times 8 is 64. So we would do 64 times 16, and this is again is for the volume for answer choice A. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 6 is 36. Plus 2 is 38. Add your 0 for your placeholder. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 6 is 6. Add them up. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. 3 plus 1 is 4. Plus 6 is 10. So we got lucky right here, and they are the same. So our answer choice is A. So remember, to find the surface area, you could do the front, which is 32 by 4, which would be the same as the back. The top and the bottom would be 32 by 8. And the side would be 8 by 4. And once you found all 6 of those, then you would add them up. You do the same thing here. The front is 16 by 8. So the back 16 by 8. The bottom 16 by 8. So the top 16 by 8. And both of the sides are 8 by 8. So you would do all of those and then add them together. To find the area of the base is what it sits on. So you would just do 32 times 8 and 16 times 8. For the perimeter of the bases, remember the perimeter, you add all the sides, but we're just talking about the base, so it would be 32 plus 8 plus 32 plus 8, 16 plus 8 plus 16 plus 8. Number 4. A floor plan of Alicia's apartment is shown. All dimensions are in feet. If Alicia's apartment has an area of 640 square feet, what is the square footage of the living room? So we know that this whole thing has to be 640. So we could find the area of each of these, and then we could subtract it from the total area to see what's left. So let's try that. So 10 times 12, hopefully we know is 120. 8 times 8, 64. 6 times 8 is 48. This is one place where knowing your multiplication facts comes in handy. 10 times 8 is 80. 8 times 8 is 64. So then we add them all up. 120 plus 64. We got 4, 8, and 1. Plus our 48. And I might check them off as we go so we don't forget. 8 plus 4 is 12. 8 plus 1 is 9. Plus 4 is 13. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then plus our 80. So 0 plus 2 is 2. 8 plus 3 is 11. 2 plus 1 is 3. So we have 312 plus 64. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 3 plus nothing is 3. So then this is the total that we already have. So if the whole thing is 640, we can just do 640 minus 376 to see what is left for the living room. So we can't take 6 from 0, we have to borrow. Can't take 7 from 3, so we have to borrow again. 13 minus 7 is 6, 5 minus 3 is 2, so it's 264 is what is left to be the area of the living room. Question number 5. Which is the closest to the volume of the rectangular solid below? So which is the closest? So I would say that we could just multiply these. This would probably be on the calculator active, but you're going to have to do these operations on the inactive as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. So you have to multiply 4.12 times 3.78. So if we multiply, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9, 8 times 4 is 32. Okay, and we have our place value. 7 times 2 is 14, 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8, 7 times 4 is 28. And then this time we will have 2 placeholders. 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 4 is 12. And then you add them all together. So you have 6, 9 plus 4 is 13, 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11, plus 6 is 17, 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 8 is 12, plus 3 is 15, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2 is 5, and 1 plus nothing is 1. So here we have to remember when we're multiplying decimals, we count how many places are to the right of the decimal. So there are 4, so we move it 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have this number here, and we have to times it by 6.98. So we have 15.5736 times 6.98. Remember, you do not have to line up your decimal places when you're multiplying. So 8 times 6 is 48, 8 times 3 is 24, plus 4 is 28, 8 times 7 is 56, plus 2 is 58, 8 times 5 is 40, plus 5 is 45, 8 times 5 is 40, plus 4 is 44, 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12. Mark all those out. We would put our placeholder. So 9 times 6 is 54, 9 times 3 is 27, plus 5 is 32, 9 times 7 is 63, plus 3 is 66, 9 times 5 is 45, plus 6 is 51, 9 times 5 is 45, plus 5 is 50, 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14. And now we have 2 placeholders. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3 would be 21. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 2 is 44. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 4 is 34. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3 is 33. And then 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. Let's see if we can add these up. We've got 8, 12, 10, 11, 17, 6. 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 5 and 5 is 10. 3 and 4 is 7. 7 and 1 is 8. 9 and 1 is 10. Whew! Aren't you glad you'll probably get to use a calculator? So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places to the right of the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 108.7, which is the closest to 112. Number 6. So this would be better if you have graph paper, but I'm just going to draw it out right here. Okay, all of these are in quadrant 1, so when you're drawing it, just remember you're all going to be positive up here. So we have the point 2, 8, 5, 13, and then 12, 8. And this is just approximately. So here we're looking for the area of a triangle. So hopefully we know area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So here we were at 2 on the x's, and we're going all the way over to 12. So if you were on graph paper, you could count the boxes. But you also know that 12 minus 2 is 10. Here you're finding the height, which is straight up and down. So you are down here where the y is 8. And you're going up here where the y is 13. So 13 minus 8 is 5. So the height is 5. And then we just do base times height. So 10 times 5 divided by 2. 10 times 5 is 50. Divided by 2 is 25. So that would be the area of the triangle. Number 7, we are looking for the volume of the triangular prism. Remember, volume is the amount of space on the inside. So to find the volume, we find the area of the base, okay, and we times it by the height, the distance between the two bases. So it's a triangular prism, so the base is a triangle. So again, we do base times height divided by 2. So we have 6 times 5 divided by 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So that's the area of this triangle is 15. Then you times it by the distance between the two triangles. So it's 15 times 11. Put your placeholder, add them up, 165. Now this 6.5, we don't use that when we're finding the volume. If we were finding the surface area, okay, then we would have to use the 6.5. Okay, number 8. The figure below consists of a right triangle, a rectangle, and a trapezoid. Okay, so if I was going to draw these 3 figures, okay, I would have a triangle, and then since we're supposed to have a trapezoid, I would make my rectangle and trapezoid here. So we have this big rectangle, triangle, and the trapezoid. It has 2 parallel lines, okay, and then the other 2. Okay, but the trapezoid has to have those 2 parallel lines. So we just need to break it down. So for the triangle, from here to here is 2. From here to here, we don't know exactly what it is yet. But all the way across is 9, and from here to here is 3. So to figure out what's left to go here, you would just do 9 minus 3, which is 6. Here, this is 4, and you know that this is 4. Okay, so to find the area of the triangle, we do base times height divided by 2. So 6 times 2 divided by 2. 6 times 2 is 12, divided by 2 is 6. So that is the area of the triangle. The rectangle, we just do length times width. Now we have the 6 here, but that's not the whole length of that rectangle. The whole length of the rectangle is the 7. So we would do 7 times 4, which is 28. Then for the trapezoid, we do base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times the height. So the bases are the ones that are parallel to each other. So 4 plus 1 divided by 2 times the height of this trapezoid. Let's see, the whole way down through here is 3. This is 6. So I wonder if we can figure out the height of that trapezoid. Okay, if you look right here, the whole way is 7. Alright, but from here to here is 6. Okay, which means that this just has to be 1 here. So if the whole way across is 1, and this little bitty bit right here, if the whole way across is 3, and this little bit right here is 1, then that means that the height of that trapezoid has to be 2. So again, if the whole thing is 3, this little part's 1. So from here to here, the height of the trapezoid between the two parallel lines is 2. So then we would do 4 plus 1, the two bases, divided by 2, times 2. So 4 plus 1 is 5, divided by 2 times 2. Hopefully, you know, if you divide it by 2 and times it by 2, you end up with what you have. Okay, but 5 divided by 2, 2 goes into 5 2 times. You get 4, add your decimal and a 0. 2 goes into 10, 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. We bring our decimal straight up. So that would be 2.5 times 2 equals. So 2.5 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 1 decimal to the right. Okay, so it is in fact 5. So we have 6 and 5, which is 11. And then 28 plus 11. 8 plus 1 is 9. 2 plus 1 is 3. So it is 39. Okay. Number 9. Carmen's swimming pool has the shape of a rectangular prism with a length of 20 feet, a width of 10 feet, so a length of 20, a width of 10, and a depth of 5. That would be the height. The pool will be filled with water until the water level is 1.5 feet from the top. What's the volume of the water that will be filled, that will be in the pool? Okay, so if the whole way is 5, and there's going to be a space right here that's 1.5, to figure out how much is going to be filled with water, we could do 5 minus 1.5. So 5 minus 1 is 4, and 4 minus a half, hopefully we know, is 3.5. Okay, but we could put the 5 over 1 times plus. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, over 2. When we're subtracting, we have to have a common denominator. So it would be 2. So 1 times 2 is 2, so 5 times 2 is 10. So those are equivalent fractions, because we did the same to the bottom as we did to the top. 10 minus 3 is 7, and then the denominator stays the same. Then you would do 7 divided by 2. 2 goes into 7 3 times. There's 1 left over, so that becomes the numerator. The denominator stays the same. So it is 3.5. So here, to find the volume, we now know it's 20 by 10 by 3.5. So 20 times 10, put down our placeholder. 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 2 is 2. So that's 200. So 200 times that 3.5. So to multiply fractions, we have to have an improper fraction if it's a mixed number. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then under the whole number, we would put a 1. So 200 times 7, you may not know that, but 2 times 7 is 14, and you just add your 2 zeros. And then 1 times 2 is 2. So 1400 divided by 2, 2 goes into 14 7 times, and we have our 2 zeros. Okay, so our answer would be 700. Number 10. Shane plans to paint his barn. He will paint the 4 rectangular sides, including the door and the 2 triangle sections formed on the roof. Calculate the number of square feet for the surface area that he will paint. So we have 4 rectangular sides and 2 triangular sections. So when we find the surface area, we're going to be adding up 6 different numbers. Okay, so if we start here with the front, okay, it's 24 down here, and it's 20 up through here. So for the front, it would be 24 times 20, which means for the back, it would be 24 times 20. And then we have the sides, we have 20 by 45.5. Okay, so those are our 4 rectangular sides. Now we have 2 triangular sections, okay, that are just formed by the roof. So that would be these part right here. We're not painting the tiles on top, okay, we're painting this little triangular section. So it's 24 across this way, and then the height of the whole thing's 28. This bottom part's 20, that means the height of the triangle is 8. Remember, that's just a right angle. So you would have to do 24 times 8, and it's a triangle, so you have to divide it by 2. And then do the same thing for the other triangle. And once you get all of those answers, okay, then you would add them all up and see what your answer is.